All right, to this a suggestion via a channel member. The name of the video is O'Leary, as in Kevin O'Leary, predicts riots in the street when Trump's China tariffs go into effect. Riots in the street? Which streets? Our streets or their streets? Guys, probably our streets, most likely. Not so much theirs, because they're still going to import, export all around the world, no matter what, right? But the fact is that we buy basically all these things on the internet nowadays, and they're cheaply made things, and a lot of these things are coming from China. It just is what it is in this context. These things are going to get more expensive by definition, and they have to. There are going to be some people who are like, no, that's not going to happen. Bro, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Example. Let's say I bought this Vara right here. It was made in China, even though it was made in India. That's not the point. Let's say I bought this from China. Okay. And it cost me, I don't know, $40. And them in China were like, listen, you know what? We're just going to keep selling it to the United States of America because they're buying it for $40, no problem. Tariffs hit. Now that product is now going to have to be taxed. You think that they're going to now take basically a deficit, let's say, on their product? No, they're not. What they're going to do is say, well, now this Vara is $73 because that's what they're charging me. So we're going to go ahead and charge you so I can still make the same money I was making before. And that's the only thing that they're going to do. Either that or they can start moving all their facilities to the United States of America, basically hiring Americans in the meantime, right? And that also can work. Now there's no more exports, right? They're not exporting anything to us because they're making it all here. That could be another option. Don't get me wrong here. That sounds right. But in the meantime, riots in the streets, it'll probably be more about us, right? Rioting in the streets. To be honest, when I look at it, at least, could be wrong here, guys, but let's check it out, guys. Let's jump into it.
O'Leary Ventures chairman, Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, don't you love this? I mean, he does start with these totally wild ideas, although when you really think about them, I mean, the Panama Canal Treaty, I remember when it was debated, Ronald Reagan debated with Bill Buckley about it and so forth. It is a contract. And it is a contract that has been broken literally thousands of times by the government of Panama, and China wants to get its greedy hands on it. What do you think the possibility is of Donald Trump coming in and say, hey, look, you guys broke your contract, it's ours?
Mm-hmm. Very possible,
well,
I think.
We know it's 100% probability that's going to happen. But
I'm not going to go ahead and say that that's a great idea. Keep this in mind here. Panama is a sovereign nation. And if they have China now behind them, we are now starting issues directly with China. Keep this in mind also. We are still the main users of the Panama Canal. I mean, China is basically playing a minor part in this entire thing. But the president or prime minister, let's say, of Panama has already said, not a chance we're giving this back to you. It is the ownership of the sovereign nation of Panama.
Trump is a transactional
things
guy.
Things get a little tricky.
I think everybody understands that now, there's no doubt. And he picks his fights one at a time. Last week it was Canada. Now it's Panama. And wow, we got Greenland on this list too. So, I mean, look, it's a very interesting way to start governing before you're actually the president. You do it by social media. You wake everybody up. They come flying to Mar-a-Lago. It makes sense to me. I don't see any reason why you can't do it. But the China thing in Panama is an issue, because if that was in any way affected and we didn't get access, that's a money saver for shipping in a very big way. So my guess is an envoy goes down there sometime in February and they start squeezing Panamanian heads to get a new deal.
By the way, your microphone is crackling a little. Just give it a little tug or something, just on your microphone there. I think it's there.
Better?
I think you got it. The difference between Canada and China is monumental. I mean, Trudeau came into the U.S., bowed at the feet of Donald Trump and folded like a cheap suit. I don't sense the same kind of reaction coming from Xi. What's going to happen with Xi? They're going to play hardball. It is going to be hardball between the two presidents. We know that Xi wants to become number one by knocking us down, whether it's legally through more trade or illegally through things like fentanyl and everything. He's been trying to do that for years. We know that's his.
And TikTok. the culture that's allowed to proliferate on TikTok.
MO. How do you think Trump is going to respond to that? I mean, I suspect it'll be like we saw in the first term, where he comes in strong with these new tariffs, don't you?
China's a different issue completely to Canada or any other country.
Absolutely.
The only way, you've got to remember, since 1999, since they came into the World Trade Organization, they have broken the rules with every country, including the U.S., every year. I'm an individual who does business there. My businesses have been absolutely screwed. I've said it countless times. They don't play by the rules. There's nothing reciprocal in our relations. The only way to make it work with the supreme leader, as I like to call him, is to inflict massive economic pain and risk on him by imposing tariffs on sectors where many Chinese people are employed. I have nothing against Chinese people. I have a lot against their government. And the only way to put him at risk is to say, look, if you want to mess with the largest economy you trade with, then we're going to force a lot of people that make yoga mats or electronics or whatever else it is to be unemployed in your cities. They'll be rioting in the streets. They won't have any bread, and you will be out of power. That is.
That's what he meant by that. I'm going to be honest. They're probably not going to riot. Not in China, bro. No, they're not. They're just not going to do that.
The only way it's going to work. So
it's too authoritarian over there, guys.
Impact weaponry, like tariffs, but you've got to be hardcore. He only understands the stick. That's all he understands. Any weakness at all, he plays off, and he has done so for years.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this is the administration that fixes the problem. I have really been hurt by China, and there are millions of other businesses in America that are in the same boat I'm in.
Absolutely. By the way, you mentioned the World Trade Organization. They still designate China as a developing nation. What that entitles China to are all these sweetheart loans that we partially pay for through the WTO, adding up to billions of extra dollars for the Chinese. Should Trump try to eliminate that designation of developing nation for China?
They're not a developing nation.
Exactly.
They're in an economic war with us and many European countries. That's got to get fixed. All that stuff has to get fixed. 40 years of getting screwed. That's what's happened.
And 40 years, by the way, of getting benefits that they don't deserve. And the Euros have gone right in there. And when there's a Democrat in the White House, they go right along. But I think it's going to be different now. Very quickly, the SEC, as we were just...
Okay, before we even get off of this topic here, I want to point out something really quickly. China is kind of still a developing nation, guys. Like, if you've been to China, you kind of understand what I mean by that. Like, China is really good at building, like, tofu dreg type mega cities. They're really good at doing that. And then flooding these areas with a gigantic, amount of people. But the overwhelming majority of China is completely underdeveloped. He doesn't care about nothing else but his flagship cities. And there's like at least 20 of them. All right. Because anything outside of that is like a third world, fourth world country, bro. And I think that's probably how they're still qualified for the developing nation status, even though, in fact, they have like a lot of, honestly, cities that rival Manhattan, Chicago, LA completely all day long. Okay. You'll be like, wait, they have that and we don't have that? Exactly. Okay. But all right.
Talking about in a previous segment is going to change dramatically under Donald Trump. Paul Atkins is a big free market guy, unlike his predecessor. So what are you expecting in terms of opportunities that we couldn't see in the United States because the SEC played such a tough cop role that we won't see during the Trump administration? What more opportunities will exist?
They'll exist because decisions will be made, particularly in the crypto and digital payment systems markets, where we should be leading worldwide and we're falling behind because we can't make up our minds. Listen, Gensler had a point of view that everybody understood. He just litigated his way into the courts on it. We need to get some decisions so that firms like mine can be compliant. We want to play by the rules as we do in every other market, the debt, the equity, the options market. Just tell us what the rules are. Yeah. That's all we need to know. And once that's put in place, you will see an orderly transition into bringing crypto into the overall economic institutional infrastructure.
Yeah, that's what XRP is doing, though.
That's what we want.
Good stuff. Kevin, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful new year. If I don't see you, appreciate you coming on.
Guys, okay, so now, I still don't believe that we're like they're going to be the ones rioting. Like if you understand the culture there, you can basically get life imprisonment for kind of almost anything, it feels. But you know what? And I'm not sure rioting, specifically rioting, is their thing. It's more of our thing. Okay. But you know, listen, do your thing. All right. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey guys, you guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.